Hey everyone. Um, this is somr54, better known as Aries 540, and I am playing Eternal X today. It's a game made on the Marathon engine that was produced by Bungie in the early 90s and is the uh, something of a spiritual predecessor to Halo. So let's jump into it. Time is going to begin when I hit the begin new game button. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty. Welcome to the far side of nowhere, as the game will tell us. We are at the proverbial end of the road. This is a failed timeline, and we are being sent back in time to fix things. That's our first Bob kill of the run. I'm pretty sure that this run kills more Bobs than any other run, simply because there's so many of them and they just get in the way. As you can see, if you bump up against them, it completely stops you and you get stuck. So it's not cruel. They're just awful allies who are prone to shoot me and they get in my way. We're just starting off with an exposition level here, collecting some extra ammo and reading through some terminals in order to progress. So, trying to explain the story of Eternal would be like showing you a spaghetti stain on the wall and saying, here, this is my description of a game that is actually the thrown ball of spaghetti, and you have to untangle every single noodle, which is a different failed timeline in the game. Uh, we're only going to be playing about 2/3 of the actual game, since about 1/3 of the game is you exploring failed timelines and fixing your mistakes for the future. There's no point in playing through the failed timelines because they only lead back to points in the regular timeline anyways. So we're just going to skip all of those. And I'll try and remember to mention when those actually show up. So, first real level of the game. We're back on the Marathon. We are revisiting a version of events from Marathon 1, where we're on the Marathon. This time we have come back with an AI named Hathor. Hathor is a cyborg, just like us. Here I'm firing in order to get this enemy to spawn. And we need this alien weapon for a skip in the next level. In any case, we're back on the Marathon in order to change events around and try and save our doomed timeline in the future, some like, 10,000 years or something. And so Hathor is going to be directing us, and we'll be interacting with the original Marathon AI, Durandal, Leela, and Tycho. But things just progress differently. This level's pretty straightforward. We're running through to this point so I can hit the switch to complete our mission. I think we're turning on a communication system. I don't really recall for sure. Most of the objectives in Marathon games essentially involve you being a gopher to hit manual failsafe switches for the AIs, whoever you're currently working for. I did do a short jump there by charging up the fusion cannon. I'm not sure what its current iteration name is, but charging it up and giving a small boost. We're going to do a similar trick right here. This zag stair, or stair zag, is dedicated to Dis, and we got it first try. So that's a new skip. It involves firing the primary of this weapon and then using a last second boost to change direction again midair in order to save 10 seconds. It's pretty flashy for a very simple skip, and there are going to be less boring skips that save more time. But I wanted to dedicate that one to Dyspeptic because he is just awesome at finding all sorts of tricks and has definitely improved a lot of the speedrunning for everyone with just his expertise on that. I was determined to find a way to make that skip work when routing, because I figured, well, if I don't do it, Dyspeptic is going to do it, and, I might as well have the satisfaction this time around. So at this point, we're on a 4 ship, I believe. I can't remember what our goal was, but the level's over already, so it must not have been too important. Gonna do a little bit of boosting here. This is a good example of the floaty physics in Marathon, which we are going to abuse as much as possible. This is the first level that has a jumping off point for a failure timeline. If you're playing through the game casually and you're at all familiar with, evil AI characters like Hal or, from A Space Odyssey or anything like that, then probably by this point you'll be suspecting that something is wrong and that Hathor can't be trusted anymore. So ordinarily, after hitting those 2 switches, I'd read the terminal and exit the level by doing what Hathor says. Really, a lot of this game can be boiled down to don't trust Hathor. Because as it turns out, she's gone kind of crazy, being cooped up. Like I said, she's a cyborg like yourself, but she's been transferred into an AI body and kind of been going crazy over the last, I don't know, decades, centuries, however long it's been. And yeah, she resents humanity and wants to destroy it. I am going out of my way just a little bit to collect some trooper ammo, because the trooper there's a change for this game where the trooper is the only actual enemy that drops assault rifle ammo, and it's the most useful weapon for doing clips and jumps, particularly clips. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the AR in Eternal was designed specifically for speedrunning, because it's pretty much hot garbage at actually killing enemies, and it's absolutely busted. Reaching the end of the level here. The actual goal of the level is to break these 2 circuits, and there could be some potential time saves on this level, but all in all, it's just safer to go the long way around. Speaking of going the long way around, that's also kind of the theme of this game, is going the long way around and circumventing all of the timeline shenanigans that happen. Like I said, it really is a ball of spaghetti. This is only the first timeline portion, and we'll be jumping timelines frequently. So I have to hit the switches in the back there. I have to hit 3 switches, and we're going to clip through this door into the final room, which is a lot faster than the minute or so it would take to actually do the rest of this level. Hopefully this doesn't take too long, because using too much ammo here is not great. Alright, we're through. I think I used a little more ammo than I preferred, but I've also been farming just a little bit extra, just in case. Alrighty. I am coming into this upcoming jump with low health, so I'm a little worried about that. You also try and manage your ammo by reloading at specific times. There's no actual reload button. Thankfully, that clip went really well, and I still have a decent amount of health. In any case, you have to empty your clip in order to reload. Alright, and here we have an upcoming jump. Check my map. I really don't want to mess this one up. There we go. Backup strats are really not fun. Now we're going to skip all of these doors and all this stuff. I'm going to be quiet for a second. Okay, I just broke a bunch of circuits through the wall, and I was listening for the fizzing electronic noise to make sure that I broke all of them. This is Cyborg Golf. You tee off at the start of the level, and then what you're trying to do is get your way all the way to the end of the level and get a hole-in-one. I have landed right next to it, but I've never actually gotten a hole-in-one, so we'll see if that happens today. Because we'll be revisiting that level a number of times. It's a dream level that kind of connects all of the timelines, and it's... well, the dream levels are kind of hard to explain. In any case, we're picking up a chip, but we're not going to use it for this upcoming elevator. The chip turns on the elevator, which allows us to progress further in the level. Why the four have decided to put the key to their elevator right outside where anyone can reach it, I don't know. In any case, we aren't going to need it on the way back, because we'll just be able to shoot that switch. In this level, we're inside a Force spaceship again, I think. And I believe at this point we've jumped timelines. Our goal is to kill this guy back here. He is a cyborg controller. And doing this just creates problems for the four and makes things easy for us. Short jump there, it only saves a couple seconds. No biggie that I missed that. We're opening up the door to go after the next cyborg. Not to be confused with the human cyborgs there. This is a four cyborg that is controlling Sphit. The Sphit are a cybernetic race of... well, biological and cybernetic race that the four have enslaved. So we're just creating riots and pandemonium. The route that I'm taking skips a lot of somewhat redundant backtracking through the level. Normally, this level casually would take a long time. Just because you'd have to backtrack to the central room, go up the elevators again, rinse, repeat. And thankfully, that's this level done. So, coming up next, we're going to immediately steal another chip. And by steal, I mean we're not going to put it into the chip slot because, well, we don't need to. It's slow. We don't need to open up the security door that gives us access to. Oof, almost messed up that jump there. I also safety saved because I have to make a series of jumps. And I have to sort of jump around a really sticky corner, because if I get stuck, I have a risk of falling. I'm also at risk of getting shot up by this juggernaut. It's the big flying guy in the background, so I'd really like to avoid that. Looks like everything's good so far. So hitting those switches was the requirement to turn on this teleporter in order for us to leave the level. Now, hopefully, checking my position here. Oh, we got the worst spawn. Hopefully we should have enough assault rifle ammo. 8 clips should be enough for this. I did extra farming just in case we ran into problems for this clip. So this level is super cool. It uses some liquid physics in order to create these... I would describe them as grav lifts, kind of like in Halo 2 when you've got these horizontal grav lifts. So normally I would activate one right here, but instead I'm just going to jump across because that's quicker. Okay, backup plan. The jump failed. I think I didn't have enough grenades ready. So that is not ideal. Hoping that this doesn't burn me later in the run. We might need to do some extra farming for ammo. This is also the only marathon game, I believe, that doesn't make use of the Rebellion level, which is... the Rebellion level means that it wipes your items, health, and ammo. It also wipes your items for chips and stuff. So, on the plus side, no Rebellion level means that we... Oh, right, I have to hit a switch. it means that we can keep our chips, which is really important because it allows for time saves later on. Here's where I'm going to do some farming. It doesn't really matter that I am doing the farming because I have to wait for this big cylindrical platform to come down anyways. Just gotta hit these 4 circuits and then exit the level. Doing a little bit of extra saving. The saving, by the way, is me looking at the save terminal on the wall and doing that. So there are set save points in the game, which means that sometimes speedrunning a marathon can be a bit hairy and can be stressful because you're going through a large stretch that's dangerous and has risky threats, and you won't have a save for a long time. So we just skipped the first, I'd say, half of the level, and by grabbing the invincibility here, the invincibility is why my gun is, it looks like a bunch of static. Funnily enough, a game made in the 90s makes video encoders crap themselves sometimes when you're streaming or trying to record something. Right now I'm just trying to hit a bunch of switches. We could actually clip through one of these doors and go to the end of the level, considering that we already have the 2 chips that we need. Even though the story will give you explanations for why you need different chips, this chip will open up the security for this particular level. Well, the game actually thinks that all of the chips are the same. So we use this to our advantage and steal chips from levels to use in later levels for bigger time saves. So what's happening right now is I'm going around collecting 2 more chips just because the clip on this level is very dangerous and is inconsistent and may not save me enough time. But putting in the chips at the beginning does save time because it saves us a trip back up to the top. And it ends up saving us time in a much later level. So all in all, I think doing it saves about a minute and a half. There's the second chip, so now we can exit. This is another branching off point where we could trust what Hathor says, and she gives all sorts of excuses as to what's going on and why we can trust her and we don't understand the full picture, etc., etc. The problem is that she's crazy. So we decided not to do what Hathor says, and we were following Tycho for a while. I believe we're following Leela now. Both Tycho and Leela are original AI from the marathon. I'm going to collect just a little bit more ammo here. Since there's no rebellion level, there's no big stockpile of ammo just lying around conveniently for you. So you have to make sure that you keep stocked on the essentials along the way. In any case, this is my kingdom for a horse. The 4 being the enemy alien race, and it keeps in tradition with really bad puns for level names. The level names in Marathon are just ridiculous. Really, it's whatever people feel like naming them. So at this point, we were in the bottom portion, the exterior on a space station. Now I believe we're in a spaceship and preparing to steal it from the 4, I think, and go somewhere else. This level really doesn't have any good skips, just because we need to hit that button to open up a similar room in order to put the chip in the slot. You can get to the terminal early. However, the problem is that the terminal has 2 states, and the state where it lets us exit the level doesn't show up until we actually put the chip in the slot and flag the level as complete. So unfortunately, we have to play the level more or less as intended. This is pretty common for this game, and it varies from game to game. Usually there are some levels where there are loopholes where you can get to the terminal quickly, and even though you haven't completed the level, the terminal is still set to take you out. However, I don't believe this is the case for any of the levels in the terminal. I could be wrong. Most of them, in any case, won't let you. They won't let you leave. So here, what we're doing is we're turning on some, I think, refueling. I think what we're doing is refueling and prepping a ship to launch. There's a ship outside in that big exterior area. So we just got to hit a bunch of switches and then backtrack as quickly as we can. This is another level that we have to play as intended. This is also, I believe... Actually, I was going to say this is a jumping off point, but it's not actually. We do visit this level in the failed timeline. Alright, I got lucky that the Hulk wasn't blocking me. The Hulks are the big fat guys. These big aliens here. They're mostly a sack of hit points, and it's not fun to be body blocked by them because they just take up a lot of time. Alright, I'm making sure that my ammo is okay. We've got a really big jump coming up after this round of Cyborg Golf. The upcoming jump is actually a mashup of... Oh. Alright, not too bad that time. If I'd been paying closer attention, I might have been able to get it. So immediately when we go into the next level, we are going to spin around, do a 180, and start grenade flying. This is the somr54 jump, and it's a mashup of the Marathon 2 levels, Eat It Vidboy, and the Hard Stuff Rules. But because it's actually a mashup, what we can do is use the window dressing, basically, to abuse liquid physics, and do this. Now, if we go up against this specific window, because the geometry on the inside of the window is favorable, oh good, I think we're in. Alright, we just skipped Eat It Vidboy and went to the Hard Stuff Rules. An unfortunate traffic jam there. Now, the Hard Stuff Rules is actually a pretty confusing and difficult level, casually. However, what we're doing is just running through it the intended way. The combat is fairly light, though, considering that at this point we've traveled back in time, I don't know, several thousand years, and I'm going to go for some backup health here to make sure that this next jump goes smoothly. We're back in time several thousand years, and so the reason that we're revisiting these places is because we're trying to access a computer called Thoth at an earlier point in the timeline for time travel shenanigans, for reasons. So that's what we're doing here. And I want to make sure I have enough health on the next level, otherwise I might get myself to a point where I'd have to resort to a really uncomfortable backup strat that would just lose me a lot of time. Yeah, shoot. Okay. That enemy can sometimes cause problems for us, so I'm just eliminating him early. We have another one showing up that's not desirable. Okay. This, what happened to me right here is exactly why I wanted the backup health. It's really, really hard to cancel your speed sometimes after a clip, especially when you get shoved into a corner. So what we had to do was get the extra health so we wouldn't just die in the lava bath. There is no save terminal on... there's no save terminal on this side, and we have to do another clip immediately afterwards, which also dunks us in lava. Thankfully, we got some health there. Alright, we are stealing another chip. I should say, we aren't actually stealing chips. Sometimes we're just picking up chips to use later in the level. So we still have the 2 stolen chips. But we needed to pick up the chip for this level, I should say. Alright, where's it going to put me? I never quite know where the jump is going to put me. Alright, this is fine. Alright, we need to put the chip in the slot to turn everything on. We have to do that in order to leave the level. I'm going to reset this. This stairway is really funky. It's a huge spiral staircase that for a while I thought was the... Running up it normally was actually the fastest way. But if you get the clips just right, it will propel you to the top, sometimes multiple staircases at a time. Alright, we're just going to take the normal way. That was kind of unlucky, but not necessarily unexpected. Just the geometry in this whole room is a little bit unpredictable. If everything had gone well, I would have clipped up several sets of staircases. Except I would have had to alter my jump, and you have to keep getting yourself into a, quote, corner. Really, it just means a concave piece of geometry in order to warp up to the next layer of steps. So we lost a little bit of time there, but not too much. It's not a big deal. All right, so this is a level that's got underwater segments. You can see the water rising and falling. It's a huge pain to navigate, so we're not going to. The thing is, this level starts you off really close to the exit. 1, 2, we're done. So that's what the stolen chips were for. I think, let me think, is that a jumping off point? No, that's just another level that we can visit. We can visit in the failed timeline, and, you know, Hathor is kind of complaining and bemoaning her situation to us. And this level would be actually very, very long. However, you can just jump out the window, read a novel, and continue on our way. So at this point, we've gotten the Leela AI to merge, I believe, with Thoth, or this version of Thoth, who is a Sphit AI. Yeah, so we're taking orders from her. See, I know that this level is called Third Rock from the One. I believe we're on a space station, but I couldn't tell you offhand what it's for. Our mission for this level is to collect a chip, put the chip in the slot, and then leave the level. We could get to the end terminal without doing that, but again, the terminal wouldn't actually let us leave. So, once again, we are forced to do the level more or less the intended way. The reason you see me firing downwards like this is to get my feet off the ground. Once you get your feet off the ground, that's where most of the... That's where, like, the boosting happens and the clips happen. I was trying for a quick clip there, but it didn't work. Also going to take a moment to look around for some extra ammo on the ground. We actually have useful allies this time around, who are very, very good at killing the enemy. And that should probably be enough. Picked up some extra assault rifle ammo, just to make sure I don't run out later. Now, I'm pretty sure it's around this point in the game that things start to get really interesting, because in the failure timelines, you start to learn more and more about what's really going on with this story. As it turns out, nothing is quite as simple as it seems. Hathor is not just a crazy AI, but possibly the equivalent of an elder god. It's something called the Working Cactuar. And believe me, there's no right way to pronounce that. It's a mythological creature that features in Marathon Infinity. And so at this point, she is helping us out. Right. Quick, get rid of him, because it's quicker to kill him than get blocked later. believe... There we go. That's the last one I need. So this is a rehash of my own private Thermopylae. It's a mouthful. Another Marathon 2 level. Although this time, again, because of time travel, we're going through and doing things just a little bit differently this time. If you're not confused already by the plot, good on you, because it's confusing. Like I said, it's a definite ball of spaghetti, but is a lot of fun. Admittedly, I am a tad hazy on all of it, just because it's been years since I've played this game casually. But the story's quite good, and worth a look if you enjoy marathon games. At this point, we are trying to turn on more computer banks for Thoth, which is, I think, kind of confusing because we've already done it in multiple timelines at this point, and I don't recall the benefits of doing it this time offhand. Suffice to say that it's necessary to continue. You do backtrack through the level in a different way this time around. So it's not just the same level. There are a couple of small architectural changes, and again, we're back in time when everything is working the way it should be. So the facilities aren't run down and broken. They're actually working as intended. And at this point in the story, we're pretty much chasing Hathor across the universe and across timelines in a almost comical, in an almost comical time travel chase. And it would be comical if the consequences weren't the destruction of the human race and possibly the universe. In the failed timelines, things are pretty dark. Everyone gets turned into weird, like, I don't know, emotional, angry space ghosts, I guess, is a good way of describing it. And we are jumping to a new chapter. And a new timeline, I believe. Alright. We're going to save here real quick. So at this point we're on a Jero, either ship or space station, I think. Chasing Hathor, who's up to no good. I still think we're taking orders from Leela, I'm pretty sure. It's a little bit confusing because you end up taking orders from everyone in the game except for Durandal. Or all of the original Marathon AIs except for Durandal. Alright, and we're through that window. Alright, once the room stops spinning, we can keep going. So we have to hit those two switches. Oops, I forget that's a window sometimes. And make our way out. It's a little bit faster to backtrack this way than the other way. Let's see. At the moment I'm at a loss for what comes next, but I believe we might be up to the Incredible Hulk, which is a challenge to be sure. Incredible Hulk referencing the nigh unkillable Hulks. Yes, it is the Incredible Hulk. The nigh unkillable alien race. At this point, what we've done is we've started a slave revolt. And I think we may have started it early, and it's it's doing way more damage. The slave revolt actually happens in the original Marathon timeline, but thousands of years, I think, before we actually come into the picture. Trying a really dodgy clip here. This level is really linear. It's very much a switch hunt. And I'm getting shot through the window, which is also not ideal right now. Usually that doesn't happen. So we're attempting to get through this window, which is going to let us sequence break a number of things. All told, I think the level is about 4.5 minutes running through in the intended way. I'm just going to reset this right now. Sometimes I just need to do a reset on this jump. I'm not really sure why exactly, or how to make it more consistent. Possibly the angle. Oh, this is good. Screen shaking is good, and we're through. Clipping through doors and windows, or clipping into walls in order to warp up to the top, is not fully understood. We kind of know what works and what doesn't, but mostly it's just a lot of trial and error in testing. And with enough practice, you can kind of get a feel for if the clip is going to work and if you're currently doing it correctly or not when you're in the middle of it. So our big goal for the level is to hit these two switches at the top of elevators. And now we're going to quick hit a switch that's going to open up a door just to save us a little bit of time. Again, doing things out of order. I am pretty low health here. Since this is a marathon, I'm going to make a safety save and get some backup health just in case. This loses me a little bit of time, but I'm still going to save a few minutes if this clip goes smoothly. Just figured I would kill that Hulk in case he felt like coming to interrupt me. So for this next setup, it needs to be really precise. This is one of the more precise clips in any of the games, and requires a very precise angle. As far as I know, there's a margin of error of about 5 degrees. First we're going to build up enough speed, and then I'm going to slowly, ever so slightly turn to the right in order to try and get through this. And we got it. That went really smoothly, and that is the most difficult trick of the run, in my opinion. So with that, I hope that the rest of the run is smooth sailing. Alright, we're actually pretty good on health. I'm not going to bother with the backup health this time around. And so we're just going to ignore the whole first part of the level. It's a lot of kind of running up cliffs and working your way up a mountain, but we don't get time for that. So now that we're actually to the main part of the facility, gotta wait for him to come around here. I can't fire this gun underwater, otherwise it'll just damage and just about instantly kill me. So we're in the main part of the facility here. We have to hit a bunch of switches that are opening up panels and doors in order to break all of the circuits. The circuits are our actual goal. I think there's 8 of them in total, which is far too many in my opinion. I mean, who needs security in your ancient alien, space station that's millions of light years away from anything else? I believe I'm getting turned around here. Yep, this is the right way. And here we are. Oh, we usually don't get Hulks in this room. Kind of a pain. We're going to lead them on a ring around the rosy here. Okay, and with that, hopefully we're good to go. Alrighty. All in all, that went pretty well. I'm looking at my map and reorientating myself in order to make sure that I'm facing the right way. When you have a teleport that is contained within a level that just leads you to another point of the level, the way that you're facing when you start the teleport is the way that you'll be facing when you exit. It just saves a little bit of time and makes it so that you don't have to whip around. Just a small optimization. The level that we're on is called Dreadnought, and is a pun, naturally. We're on a Gero Dreadnought. The Gero are They're essentially the Marathon universe's version of the Forerunner. They are an ancient civilization that sort of disappeared a long time ago, and they've left behind a lot of tech, which the Four Empire, a bunch of slavers, who the analogy for them in the Halo universe would be the Covenant. The Four get most of their technology is just scavenged from. Oh, that's new. Just the energy core in there is just a little addition to the game. By the way, this is the. I may have forgotten to mention this earlier, but this is a. Got some floaty physics being a pain right there. The category for this run is any percent on kindergarten difficulty, and it's on the current patch for Eternal X. The previous patch actually has an incredible skip that makes the run, I think, something like 15 or 17 minutes long. We're actually low health right here. A little low health, and we can take a lot of damage in this room. Just gonna get some safety. In any case, the old patch has a very, very fast time, just because of a door clip that takes you to the end of the level, much like the current strat in Marathon Infinity, where you just skip huge portions of the game because you can visit a dream level that is identical geometry to all of the others, and you just hit the teleport flag, and it takes you to the end of the game. And so you skip the vast majority of the game. In Infinity, you skip about 2/3 of it. In this game, checking my map here to see where the enemies are. Gotta make sure I kill them all. So yeah, you can just skip to the end of the game because the level geometry is identical, and no one thought that you would be able to get to that portion of the level, so it was never bothered to be changed. Just taking an extra moment to check every nook and cranny on this map. We've got to kill all of the enemies, in addition to shooting the circuit I shot earlier, and putting 2 chips into 2 slots. This level is a royal pain, and probably the slowest level out of the run. One of them, for certain. Alright, gotta check my minimap again. I'm taking it slow just because I really don't want to have to backtrack. It will be much more efficient for the marathon, since a mistake will cost me more time than I'm willing to lose. We're also starting to run low on fusion ammo at this point, which is a big bummer. In a few levels, we'll be getting more of it. This weapon, by the way, is just super powerful, especially because it takes out things like drones. Those flying guys that I just shot takes them out really well, because it does bonus damage to them and any cyborgs. And overall, it just has a very high damage output. You can use it for the charge-up shot, which actually pierces through enemies and does a lot of damage. I'm going to grab a little more backup health. Ordinarily, I would just be running past everyone and not taking a lot of damage, so it wouldn't be a big deal. However, I'm not really concerned about my health. I'm mostly just trying to gun everyone down as quickly as possible. This room is particularly irksome. You have to come in here to hit a circuit and clear out the enemies. They like to stay up in their little just sniping rooms. There's no real point to these rooms other than to be a nuisance to you. So I should be good clearing out one side, and the other enemies are going to come down the stairs here when they can't see me. Alrighty, that's most of the level clear. I've picked up one chip. Right, because I've already used one chip. I just wanted to double check to make sure that I'd picked up both chips in the level. There they are. Okay. Those guys are easy to find. Sometimes they like to wander around. I have to hunt them down at the end of the level. Alright, now if I've done everything correctly, killed all the enemies, done the circuits, and done the chips, we are out of here. Thank goodness. Alright, this is a genie in a bottle. Very short level because we just use a... Oops, getting turned around. The 4 levels are also just made of spaghetti, and you can use a very quick jump to get over that and skip pretty much the whole level. We'll do that, and then we'll make another jump here. And we're good. Our goal in this level is to shoot these 4 circuits. And then we can leave from this terminal. Alright, Cyborg Golf. Let's see how we do. Had to do a quick skip off of a cliff there, since I had to reload my grenades. So no hole-in-one, that's fine. With Cyborg Golf, it's really important to have the correct amount of ammo going into it, so that you don't have to have an inconvenient reload. And we are on to the last chapter of the game. So at this point, we are getting dropped onto an enormous Gero installation. It is, it's basically the same thing as a shield world from Halo, actually. It's a hollow planet, and on the inside, in stasis, are a bunch of ancient humans. The twist is that the ancient humans are actually... They are the Gero race that we have been investigating their installations and the stuff that they do in the past. At this point, the timeline really starts to turn into spaghetti because our actions here actually somehow influence the Gero into the series of events that then send us on this path in the first place, and it starts to become this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy of a timeline. This is a major bummer. Usually you can clip through this elevator fairly easily, although it's a little bit janky because I'm trying to clip through a currently moving platform. Alright, we're going to bounce on the ground and just go to the top again. This level is low grav, which means that we can just, once the door actually opens, we can just fly to the top. Everything in the bottom of the level is pretty much superfluous and not needed. You're actually just spending the entire level waiting for that elevator to come down so that you can make your way to the top. But it gives you a chance to explore, and it gives you some more background story, and it actually introduces you to the shadow enemies in the game, which are these angry space ghosts I was talking about. Normally they only show up in the failed timelines, but here they are showing up in the now. Although, I suppose now is relative, because that's a spaghetti mess. So we are going through the level backwards. We're just taking a quick shortcut there in order to get to this terminal. We have to read this terminal in order for a door to open. I could clip through the door and save time. I think I might even be able to save 25 seconds or so on this level. The level isn't that long. But it's not very consistent, so we're on safe strat. Improvising a jump since the elevator stopped working. I actually have to be very careful when resetting my grenade clip, because when strafe running, you actually run fast enough that you can catch up with your grenade if you run at the right angle and grenade yourself, which is very inconvenient. So at this point, we're talking to an ancient Jero AI that is explaining a lot of things in the story, and everything is kind of starting to come together. This jump just skips a long linear, path. Trying to avoid all of these bobs here. I really don't want to kill too many of them, even though these guys are an absolute pain. The problem is that if you kill too many too fast, they will turn on you, and their weapons do enough damage to be a danger to me. And the thing is that once you set them off, they will be angry at you. Every single bob will be angry at you for the rest of the level. And there are quite a few of them in this level. This level is called "This Cave is Not a Natural Formation," a nod to Halo 1, if you're familiar with the quote. Since this level happens to have a very similar... that went very, very well for that door clip. The level has a similar theme in that it is an extensive cave system that is clearly not a natural formation. It's a Jero installation. Alrighty. I'm gonna go with a safety save here. I don't expect any problems, but it's at this point in the game that if I don't save, and I do happen to die or get myself stuck, I'll have to backtrack by a lot. Hitting that circuit there opens up a door later in the level. And at this point, we're making a beeline for the secret way in to this level. The secret way is really nice because it contains almost all of the switches that we need for the rest of the game. This opens up a series of doors, and actually, I'm not really sure if it opens up the doors so much as just we just have to hit all the switches in order to progress in the level. It's also at this point that we are going to successfully, well, I should say for the first time, we're going to successfully kill Hathor. We've been trying to kill her for several timelines now, but she keeps managing to escape at the last possible moment, and then we end up chasing her in a new timeline. And the more we try and kill Hathor, the better the closer we succeed and the more we learn about her, but it's still, got to step in front of that terminal to lower that. So at this point, we are essentially setting off any escape routes that she has to get out of, to like teleport out of the system or time travel out of the timeline. So since we've trapped her here, she's kind of morose about the whole thing. And at this point, theoretically, we have her cornered. The problem is that she still exists here in this timeline, and I believe what happens is that she ends up existing to a point where she gets time travel again, or perhaps not. At a certain point, there may or may not be multiple versions of Hathor, good and bad, that are running around making a mess of things. Just going to clear these guys out so I have an uninterrupted jump. Okay, going to do a jump here with the wave motion cannon, which is a special one for Eternal. The reason I did a safety save is this spot here. Some very finicky stair jumping and just floaty physics. That went as well as it possibly could have. I was trying for a quick shot on the switch up here. Looks like we actually did get it. It's kind of hard to confirm that we actually made that though. Now, this is a dodgy level because we have to jump up to the top in order to open the final door for the level. I really want to have a decent amount of health going into this. I might end up going for... Nope, we're going for it. I'm not going to grab any extra backup health, which is a risk. Ooh. Since we're getting dunked in plasma, and the entire level is flooding in plasma. That's what we just did with the circuit. So this is... Oh, this is going to be close. A little dicey. But we need to get back up to the top. And the teleport is right here. Okay. Took a risk, but the risk paid off. Getting backup health right here is quicker than trying to fight our way to the backup health on the previous level. I have one more safety save. Got a couple of tricky jumps coming up here. Reset my ammo just in case. So this level is pretty straightforward. We just have to run to the end. Uh-oh. So the problem with... Okay. That was unfortunate. So that little drone right there just blocked my progress, and I'm trying to get a wall so I can kill myself. He just stopped our progress midair completely, and we just got stuck on him, which is a bummer. I will clear them out this time. It's actually a first. I've never had them body block me midair in that place before, so I wasn't really expecting it. Well, hopefully one of them doesn't get the bright idea to suddenly stop me. Okay, trying to get our feet back on the ground here. And now we're stuck on a big, fat juggernaut. And I have to have the wave motion cannon out here in this spot. If I don't have that or the laser swords, I forget the technical name for them, then the boss will kill me. Ooh. So we just got hit by the boss, I think, and we fired the wave motion cannon at the exact same moment, which is unfortunate. Usually she is hanging out in a different location. The nice thing is that I'm immune to her damage because I've got the wave motion cannon out. It's a safety feature of the device that has, and if you're paying attention to the actual story in the game, the lore, you'll figure this out. And again, there's maybe multiple versions of Hathor running around. And so one of the versions of her apologizes for being such a pain in the butt. Okay, we got that clip pretty good. So this is the dream level again, but instead of doing cyborg golf, well, I guess you could say that we're doing cyborg golf uphill, which is a lot harder, and the par is set much, much higher. But now we're in front of this door that we keep seeing, and we are almost at the end of the game. This is also the door that you would clip through if you were going to run the old patch. And I can't propel myself down right here because I could actually get stuck and warp back up to the top. And so we just yeeted ourselves into space as the solution to the entire structure blowing up, I believe. We're going to ignore the terminal because, well, we wouldn't really be reading it anyways. And so this is no longer the far side of nowhere, but the near side of everywhere. Everything is looped back on itself, and at this point, we have reached the point in the story where we are going to attempt to leave this plane of reality and break the infinite cycle that is us fighting with Hathor. We're coming up on time here when the screen goes black. Time. Well, I gotta say that I'm really proud of that run. I think that went pretty well, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Shout out to Aaron for all of his speedrunning on this. He does it on a harder difficulty, and but was super helpful for the strats. Shout out to TBCR, who did some routing for this game and has found a lot of really cool skips. And shout out to Dyspeptic for just being awesome at stairs. So with that, enjoy the rest of the marathon, and I will see you Starside.